Hey, I'm Brandi Fullwood, and this is Seattle Eats. It's a podcast about Seattle's food scene and the best things to eat in it. The James Beard Award nominations are out, and 2 Seattle restaurants have snagged James Beard Award nominations for Best Chef Northwest and Pacific: Surrell in Madison Valley and Atoma in Wallingford. Let's go! But for the 6th year in a row, Seattle has been shut out of national categories. There were 20 semifinalists and 8 of them in national categories. We're going to do 2 things today. First, we're going to figure out what happened at these awards, and then we're going to help you decide how to spend your coin at these nominees. Seattle Times food critic Tan Vinh has been digesting these results as a critic and a former judge of these awards. So, let's get into it. How do you describe the James Beard Awards to people who are unfamiliar?
James Beard Award is sort of like the Oscars for chefs and restaurants. It's the easiest way I can describe it. This is why people care so much about it. As soon as your name on the James Beard Award just nominated, you're just packed. You're just packed. You win. Your place will be the bomb for at least a week, if not 2. So
now I can tell how you let the team who made Hamnet down. So the Restaurant Industry's award season is not over yet for Seattle. Surrell in Madison Valley and Atoma and Wallingford are both up for consideration for Best Chef, Northwest and Pacific at the James Beard Awards. But first, Tom, let's get some context in here first. We are at the nomination period of James Beard Awards. In the first wave, you have semifinalists who are voted in via application, either by themselves, their peers, friends, venture capital partners, etc. But then they get to committee approval to actually become nominees. That's where Surrell and Atoma are at now. You're actually a judge, Tom, so what actually helps move judges to vote?
I should say I have not been a James Beard judge in years, but the process has not changed. And for listeners out there, because it's really simple, really. You have a panel of anonymous judge who have experience in the restaurant world, mostly through journalism, I would say. So basically, this local panel, this anonymous panel, have selected Surrell and Atoma to be finalists. The local panel usually has no further role. At this point, someone from the James Beard headquarters or what have you will fly to Seattle. So, hint, Surrell, Atoma, you can expect a head judge from the James Beard Award to fly into the city and check out your restaurants anonymously.
Okay.
Hopefully anonymously.
They're not wearing like a cloak or something.
No. And they decide.
Yeah. So, there is a range of restaurants in the category this year for Best Chef Northwest and Pacific, which does include Hawaii, Alaska, Oregon, and Washington. But I noticed for Seattle, year over year, it's often fine dining that makes it into this category. Why does it seem like fine dining seems to be our contender every year?
I was pretty stunned. I mean, Remy, Musang, and Pancita didn't make the cut. Mm-hmm. Or at least, I would say one or at least 2 of the 3 would have made the cut. There's no rhyme or reason. This is all subjective. I wouldn't say that this is emblematic or there's a common theme here. Who knows? Like, they had a great meal or they didn't have a great meal. It's usually based just on one meal. It's not like,
Oh, really? One meal?
It's usually just one meal. I would say this, because I think the question that a lot of people have, Brandi, is like, hey, why is it such a bad showing for the Seattle industry this year? And the reply is the same as last year, and that is, Seattle chefs gripe about how hard it is to do business in this industry. Chefs in Seattle say they have an additional burden, and that is high costs of food and labor. We have one of the highest minimum wage. We have one of the highest liquor taxes. So that makes it more challenging. And I know this sounds like they're making excuses, but they're saying it's hard to make money. It's hard to be creative with the food because you have more constraints. So if you ask the industry, they would tell you that. And that's just one opinion.
Who are the people that are saying this is a bad showing for Seattle?
Oh, I would say anyone in the restaurant industry. Seattle is a big, major food city, and only 2 restaurants, deservingly so, made the cut. But there should have been more. I thought they made the cut. I am stunned.
I think a lot of things, but Seattle does have a diverse food culture, but the restaurants that translate maybe on a national level, they perform a version of P&W fine dining that makes sense to out-of-towners. It's super clear, like, this is Seattle on a plate. It's maybe the landscape on the plate. It's, the tide pool aesthetic that a lot of chefs like to do. There's foraging, there's mushrooms, the connection to farmers for hay or for oysters or whatever it is. But that's not always our biggest picture for people who live here locally of what Seattle food scene looks like. Does that track at all for you?
Yeah. These are fine dining restaurants, right? They cost a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So I am glad. I'm happy for these two fine dining restaurants. I'm especially glad for Atoma because with all the I-5 traffic being shut down, I-5 North, it is harder to get here. Mm-hmm. And parking is always tough in Wallingford. So hopefully, I think with this finalist designation, I think a lot of people will want to go.
We did have 20 semifinalists out of Seattle, though, in this cycle, which is something to celebrate. And 8 of them were up for national categories, but 6 years, no national wins or nominations. What's going on?
Yeah, I think it's along the lines of what we talked about. If you ask Seattle chef in the industry, they will tell you that, hey, it's just the challenge of this industry, mm-hmm. of the two things that we talked about. Because high cost of food, high cost of labor, that makes it more challenging in Seattle compared to other cities who don't have that same constraints, mm-hmm. is how I would put it, right? From someone who hangs around at Zigzag and Bar late at night, which is where all the chefs hang out, by the way. And when they get to start drinking, they will tell you, hey, the constraints that they have. It's so much easier to do business in Portland and in California. Cheaper ingredients, lower minimum wage, mm-hmm. and it just makes it easier.
Okay. Let's talk about the restaurants up for nomination because that's why we're here, right? So we've already mentioned Atoma, so let's get into that, a little context about them. This is a restaurant in Wallingford. It's a new American spot led up by Chef Johnny Courtney. The restaurant was a Best New Restaurant finalist in 2025, and most recently it made the 25 places to eat in Seattle by the New York Times, so lots of accolades to go around for them. But now it's up for Best Chef Northwest and Pacific. And Tom and I did ask the chefs if they would send in what I think is kind of like their acceptance speech. I want you to hear what they have to say about being nominated.
Hey, Johnny Courtney here with Restaurant Atoma in Seattle, Washington. And I'm super humbled to be on the short list this year for Best Chef Pacific Northwest. It means so much to me and my team to be able to represent Seattle, Washington, and the Pacific Northwest in that way. And we're super grateful that we'll have the chance to go to Chicago this year and party with everybody else who has made this incredible achievement and gotten this far in the process. And a huge shout out to everybody else who worked their asses off to be on this list with us. See you in Chicago.
That's so sweet. And I love that he gave props to his team because these days it's so hard to find good talent. And when you're a fine dining and ambitious restaurants like Atoma, you need quality talent. Mm-hmm. And I tell you, they work their asses off. Because I've been to a restaurant recently, and that's a hardworking staff.
Yeah.
It is not easy to be a James Beard finalist because the expectations raise so high. Mm-hmm. And every slip, people's like, it's overrated, or it's a challenge.
Yeah, a lot of people could end up overlooking the team, especially for this award, because this award is for Best Chef Northwest and Pacific. A little background on Johnny Courtney. He, spent 4 years as the executive sous chef at Canlis. There's training, there's technical rigor implied, and high hospitality, of course. We often celebrate experimentation, but discipline and celebrating culture and tradition make these awards quite often. What do you see when you look at his cooking? Like, what do you think about his concept and his idea of what he's formulating this restaurant to be?
I can point out, New American sounds so generalized, but it is farm to table. A lot of, not fusion, a lot of inspiration from other culture. Mediterranean, there's a lot of Middle Eastern, and I would say a little Asian influence too on some of these dishes. To me, they're like a white tablecloth, fancy, fine dining spot without trying to be white cloth, fancy, fine dining spot. It's more casual in the sense that it's shared bites like you see in Europe.
they're trying to be very unfussy when you look at the menu, the language of the menu. It's funny. You walk inside and it's kind of cozy. There's a warmth. You're saying there's this blend of different cultures that you can see throughout the Pacific Northwest. So there's like an invitation for anybody to be able to go to the restaurant.
Sure. Like, for instance, in Canlis, they ask guys to wear a sports coat if you sit in the main dining room.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, in my opinion, Atoma do want to be that fine dining restaurant, but they don't require a dress code. Mm-hmm. At least they didn't stop me when I had a cap on.
You got Jordans on and a nice top.
There you go.
I am looking at the current menu at Atoma, and I am curious what you think about the food.
From what I've had, the menu has changed, but I love the salad with the curry ranch. Ranch is like the new XO sauce, the new chili crisp. Ranch dressing is just MSG, it's umami. The chef take on the ranch dressing is more Asian inspired. It has a curry scent. It is a curry ranch. So it's salad, it's nuttiness. I believe some of the almond. It's a nice salad. This is an expensive restaurant, but I would say this is a substantial salad for like $13, as I recall it.
Yeah, what else do you like on the menu?
I love, oddly enough, I don't know why it's on the menu, but it's a crumpet, which is, for those who don't know, is sort of like a English muffin. I know people in the UK are going to kill me for saying that. They do not consider that a flattering description, but it is a delicious crumpet. It's just spongy and so crispy and chewy. It's so buttery rich. I love it. Here's something we know about Brandi, a lamb dish.
At this point, we're just seeking out lamb, it feels like.
There you go. How many times have we talked about this? How many times have me and you seen this on the menu? What did we say? Lamb belly, lamb ribs is the big thing. All the high-end restaurants, all the ambitious chefs are putting it on the menu. Their version is a lamb belly that is, you don't ask for it. It just comes out medium rare, but it has a crisp, seared ring on the edge. It is delicious. The sauce, I would say, is a little salty for me, but I don't use the sauce. I just cut the belly up and I just eat it, and it's just drippy rich. Oh, God, it's so good. A lot of people tell me that they love the Dungeness crab toast. I don't hate it. I like it. It's a little creamy rich for me. I would certainly eat it again, but I'm not obsessed with it as other people who are regulars at Atoma. So if you want to go to Atoma, definitely order this dish that people love, the crab toast, and judge for yourself.
I did see that they have parsnip ice cream on their menu, which I have seen a lot throughout the Pacific Northwest. It feels like something that comes up every March as like a first sign of winter almost being over, which emotionally is a big deal in Seattle. And so I really appreciate that they're doing something for Seattle diners who are on big vitamin D prescriptions like me.
They do one thing that I love, Brandi, and they have this thing called Blind Traveler. And what the Blind Traveler is, for $65, you get 4 blind tastes of different wines. I would say some old world, some new. I got 2 whites, 2 reds. The some doesn't tell you anything. And when he comes by, he'll ask for the big reveal. It's like, are you ready? He'll tell you a little about the wine. So it's fun. I've never seen that done before, but definitely do this. It is delicious. It's very geeky. I love it. I haven't seen other restaurants do this. I would highly recommend this. It's a good value, I think, for $65 if you're into wine.
And what about the dinner? How does that price out?
The dinner price out, I would say, for 2 would take around $350. This includes wine. And if you're in Atoma, you really should drink wine. Can you get by with just club soda and mocktails? Sure, but I would say it's a better dinner experience.
Well, I'm splurging at Atoma. So you want to move on to the next one?
Yes.
We have Surrell. Surrell is in Madison Valley, and I have another acceptance speech of sorts.
Hi, my name is Aaron Jacolvi, and I'm the chef owner of Surrell. This morning was some of the most incredible news I've ever received, and I've been shocked all day long. It's been hard for me to describe. As cheesy as it is, I've been just beaming with pride and joy, both about the hard work over the years, but this incredible team that I have. My wife, daughter, and I had a thorough dance party this morning, which was the best, and I just feel so thankful for all this amazing support that I've had over the years. One thing that's nice about not being an overnight success and truly taking years to get there is that when you do start to receive a little attention, you have this huge community that supports you. And I just feel so incredibly thankful for all the amazing people who've been reaching out and congratulating me, but have been part of my journey to create Surrell over these many years. And we're going to continue to focus on showcasing our local farms, ranchers, foragers, and fishermen on the plate and amazing Washington wine in the glass. Cheers. Thank you all so much for your support.
Can I just say, when I got this, I fully teared up. Just tears fell out of my face.
Yeah.
I just thought that was so sweet.
And you know what? I hate canned speeches, but that felt sincere to me.
Yeah.
Because every chef and restaurateur will work 80 hours a week, 60, 80 hours. There's no such thing as 40 hours when you own a restaurant. So I can see the joy. You can tell it, right? I love it. I got teary-eyed because I got emotional listening because he's happy. It's such a great achievement.
Yeah. Chef Aaron Tacolvi, another Canlis alum. He was a station chef there. Then he was a sous at Lark, which is another P&W small plates communal eating kind of spot in Capitol Hill, which there's a pattern there. Tacolvi's background showcases technique and also a particular philosophy, I think, about how we should eat together. And that's been quite apparent to diners. But why does this nomination make sense to you?
I think it's his approach to things. A lot of people don't do tasting menus with this focus of just on wash and wine. It's laser focused. There's like a purpose here. This is our menu. This is our jam. They're very local centric. They focus just on Washington wine. They celebrate Washington wine. They're so focused. You know exactly what you're getting. You sign up for this. You cannot complain. You either sign up for the 5-course menu, 12-course menu, and you know it's going to be Washington wine. There are no surprises.
Mm-hmm. So the nomination sort of makes sense because they showcase Washington well.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way of putting it. This is exactly, it speaks to what, as the DNA of Washington, right? This is a huge win for the Washington wine industry because the Washington wine industry is struggling right now. And to have a restaurant that focuses on just Washington wine means a lot. But when I think of Surrell, they have one of the best hidden patios. It is a romantic, just a beautiful patio with like strings of lights overhead. It screams to me, meet me in the arbor at midnight under the full moon. It has that kind of romantic vibe, and I love it.
I love you showing off your Riz.
And I love it because I tell readers when they're like, hey, what's a romantic place that no one knows about? I mentioned Surrell's patio. Yeah. And to my chagrin, it's not open year-round. It's like, yeah, it wasn't open yet. So listeners out there, please call, check to see when the patio is open. It varies.
You talked about how they have a 5-course menu, a 12-course menu. Drop down from there, Surrell also has this kind of wine and snacks program for about $20. You chat, you learn about the wine, you have, I don't know, maybe like a little grazing table. So it kind of invites people into the space who may not be able to hit the 5 or 12 course price point.
I guess it's good to give people options, a 5-course or a 12-course. I would go to the wine maker's dinner. I think that is the best thing. And what this is they have certain themes. And I would target June 12th. That's when Dossier Winery, which is, to me, one of the best new wineries in Washington State. It is fantastic. And they're doing a dinner featuring just Dossier wine. It's $225. It is fantastic. That's how I would roll.
We kind of got to make some decisions on where to eat. And not everybody has the budget or the expense account or the schedule to eat at both. And some people are going to hear this and want help making a decision. So how do you approach choosing between 2 restaurants at this level? What's your best advice?
This is the advice I would give to listeners. Both of these restaurants will cost you a lot of money. And if you look at the menu, I know most consumers think just like the dollar sign. It's like, oh, Atoma, this dish is only $13 at Atoma. This small bite is only $9. But keep in mind, it will cost just as much as Surrell. The difference with Surrell is they're just like, hey, this is $225 for this tasting menu.
Well, it's the option that you have to trust the chef to go the tasting menu route.
Yeah. So don't be delusional into looking at these 2 menus and saying one is much cheaper than the other. Both are high end. You get what you paid for.
Yeah.
Pretty much. If it's on the weekend and I'm chilling and I don't want to think, which is a lot of times, then I would do Surrell because I'm at your whim. Chef, feed me. Tell me what to pair with so I don't have to think about this. If you don't have the patience, I would go with Atoma instead, where you have control over the menus. So it depends on my Is that copping out? Anyway, I don't know if it is or not, but that's how I approach it. What about you, Brand? Brandi, I think you would go towards Atoma because you have control of the menu. You know what you want. You don't want to be dictated like Surrell.
I would love to go to both if I could. What does it mean for a restaurant to win from a diner's point of view, though?
Oh, from a diner's point of view, it sucks because you would never get in. You would never get in. I guarantee you, if Atoma or Surrell win, oh, you can just forget about it. You can just forget about it. You would never get in. And my rule about, hey, procrastinators, sit at the bar, it just kind of goes out the window because a zillion people will be lining up outside trying to get those bars. So that's what it means.
Maybe it's like the desire for local pride. It feels really good for your city to be recognized. While winning isn't everything, it feels like it brings us like a sense of closeness, and that feels nice.
Yeah. These chefs are just artists. That's who they are. And to be recognized, to be loved, I think that means a lot to them.
Yeah. This category only has one winner. And regardless of the outcome, Surrell or Atoma, when the results come out, Tan, you can take me to either one or both.
I'll make a note of that, Brandi. You know what? I'll take you to Atoma because I have control of the price. It's like, oh boy, that $13 salad was so filling. We'll just stop it right there.
Well, thanks for coming back.
Thanks for having me, Brandi.
All right, people, that is it for today. The James Beard Award winners will be announced at the Chicago ceremonies from June 13th to June 15th. Seattle Eats is hosted by me, Brandi Fullwood, and you can get in touch with me at seattleeats@kuow.org. But you don't have to just ask me a question. I want to know what you think about the James Beard Award nominations. What or who is being overlooked? Why? And what do you wish these national judges would see about this city? You can leave me a voicemail at 206-543-8510. And I just might play it on the show. The show is produced by me and edited by Jim Gates. Seattle Eats is a proud member of the NPR network. You can find more and support the show at kuow.org/eats. And all of that is in the description of the show. Go eat something. See ya.